Not only does Revit allow us to link two Revit projects together to help us coordinate our efforts with other members of our team, but it actually provides a coordination review tool that we can use to look for interferences between the geometry and the two models. So in this movie, I'm going to do a coordination review between our model and the MEP model that we linked in the previous movie. So here I am in a file called Coordination Review, and I'm in a section view at the moment, and our linked model is right here, this blue element right there, and that's the ductwork that our MEP engineer has added to the project. So what I want to do is see if that ductwork is interfering with any of the architectural or structural geometry that I might have in my model. So I'm going to go over to my Collaborate tab. Now, I should mention that if you're using Revit LT, the Collaborate tab is not available, so you won't be able to perform this interference check directly within Revit LT. But if other members of your team are using full versions of Revit, they can perform the coordination check and report back to you. So over here on the Coordinate panel, we have an interference check dropdown, and I'm going to click that and choose Run Interference Check. So in the interference check dialog that appears, you have two columns of categories, and both are labeled categories from with a dropdown. Now, you can actually run the interference check within your current project and choose categories on both sides. So if you wanted to check your walls against your structural members or your ceiling objects against your equipment, you could actually run the interference check within the same project. But in our case, what we want to do is put the current project on one side and the MEP model on the other. So notice that it'll change the list of categories that are available, and it will show me those MEP categories on the right-hand side, and it keeps the architectural categories here on the left. Now, you can check one or more categories, but in this case, I'm most interested in coordinating what's going on with my ceiling. So I want to see how we're doing with our light fixtures. So I'm going to check my light fixtures over here. And then on this side, I want to check all the boxes. So I can click this button down here at the bottom to select the entire list, and then just check any one of the boxes, and that will check all of them. So I'm going to coordinate light fixtures on the left side with all of the MEP objects on the right. When I click OK, Revit will run the interference and generate a report. And then you can see here in the interference report that I've got this list of 4 clashes that it identified. Now, if you select one of these, they actually highlight in the model, but as you see in this section view that I'm in, I'm not really seeing anything highlight. You can use this Show button here. I'm going to start with air terminals here at the top, and I'm going to click Show. And it will start with the current view that I'm in, but each time I click Show, it will show me a different view. Now, this view I like better, this reflected ceiling plan view, and you can even click over here and start to zoom in. So notice the object that highlighted there in orange, that's the object that has the interference. So I can click through each of these, and you can see that in those cases, the 2 air terminals are exactly in the same spot as the light fixtures, and the flex duct in that same 2 locations is also a problem. Not too bad, just 4 clashes, but still we need to resolve those before we can continue with the project. So I'm going to close this and then get on the phone and have a discussion with my engineer, and we'll talk about how to fix things. So let's assume that we had a productive discussion with our engineer and they have made updates to their model. So what I can do is I'm going to scroll down here on the project browser, and there's my MEP model right there. I'm going to right-click on it and choose Reload From. If you choose Reload, it just reloads with the same file name. But if I choose Reload From, I get a browse window and I can point to a new version of that file. So I've got another version of the MEP model called MEP Updated. So we're going to select that, click Open. It'll give me that same message about the architectural model that we saw in the previous movie. This is fine. I'm going to click OK, or Close rather. Notice that those 2 air terminals and flex ducts have moved over. And now, more importantly, I'm going to just click somewhere to deselect that. If I come over here to the interference check and say Show Last Report, and then click here to refresh it, notice that when it refreshes, all of the clashes are gone. So we've achieved the goal of every project, and that is to be 100% clash-free. Now, naturally, if we ran a different interference check on different categories, we might discover other problems, but you can see how powerful this tool can be. It allows you to pick and choose the categories that you want to run the interference against, and it allows you to avoid problems that are really easy to avoid here in software and prevent them from becoming really expensive problems out in the field.